Speaking of the Holocaust and World War II, Adolf Hitler had a dream to restore Babylon. He had a dream that Europe will become one. And it's very interesting because how many of you heard of a Zeppelin? The Zeppelin, that big, rigid airship, Okay, so we're talking about a Zeppelin. This is a type of a rigid airship that's named after the German Count Ferdinand von Zeppelin, a German guy who pioneered that airship development at the beginning of the 20th century. We all, of course, know the famous Hindenburg, of course, disaster in New Jersey, where more than 30 people died. But I want you to understand that there was a special area in Nuremberg where the Zeppelin would take off from and land, and it was called the Zeppelinfeld. Das Zeppelinfeld in a good German. Adolf Hitler hired a man called Albert Speer to design the Zeppelinfeld after the altar of Zeus, which was found in the city of Pergamon in Turkey. Now wait, probably you're saying, wait a minute, Hitler, Pergamon, Turkey, Zeppelin? Well, let me put together everything. The Pergamon Museum in Berlin, one of the most beautiful museums in a place called Museum Insel, which is the island of the museum, is hosting two of the most unbelievable artifacts. Now, you guys are all about, they are reproducing the Arch of Baal in New York City. That's a reproduction. I'm talking about the real deal that is in that museum. You see, you have to understand the city of Pergamon, which you can see only as a theater of that city, was a huge place. The people of Pergamon were the inventors and innovators, and they were known as probably the biggest competition to Athens in those days. They say that the city's Acropolis rivaled Athens. And the library that was there was second largest in the ancient world. That same library, General Mark Antony gave as a gift to Cleopatra. The people of Pergamon were known as what we call the temple keepers of Asia. The city had 3 temples dedicated to worship of the Roman emperor. One of them for the goddess Athena, and then was the great altar of Zeus, which was known by them then as the seat of Satan himself. You know, there was a very famous Christian guy who lived there, and Revelation 2:13 will tell you about Antipas, who was one of the leaders of the Christian community in that particular place. He would not denounce Christ. They took him. They took a bull, they took everything out of the bull, put that person inside, and roasted the bull. And the steam came out of the eyes of the bull, so he will denounce Christ. That was a satanic thing that was done right on the satanic altar, which is known as the seat of Satan. That's why the Revelation 2 says, he was killed among you where Satan dwells. It's interesting because since 1930, the altar of Zeus, known as the seat of Satan, is in Berlin, inside that museum. And that particular thing you see is the way Adolf Hitler asked Albert Speer to design Zeppelinfeld for all the marching and all the ceremonies of the Nazi troops and the Nazi party. He knew what he's doing. Not only that he wants to restore Babylon, he wants the seat of Satan to be right there. And if that's not enough, and you think I'm sailing with my imagination about Europe inviting Babylon, one of the other things that is in that museum is the Ishtar Gate to Babylon. In fact, this is one of the gates from Babylon that was taken from Babylon as is and brought to Germany by the archaeologists. So in that museum, you see the seat of Satan and the gate of Babylon. And you know, you don't have to think that all started in the 1920s or 30s or 40s. No, it started way before. You see, in Europe, we had horrific things that started then. Have you heard of the Knights Templar? Group of people, religious order that was established in 1118 AD, and then, of course, they were there to protect the pilgrims coming all the way to Jerusalem. And these people were given some territory in the church or the palace that King Baldwin II built right where the Dome of the Rock is today. Just so you understand, the Dome of the Rock on the Temple Mount started as a memorial that was built by the Muslims, converted into a Crusader church, and later on back to a Muslim mosque. And during that time of the Crusaders, the Knight Templars had a quarter there, and that's why they were called Knight Templar, the Knights of the Temple, because that's where the temple was standing. And you need to understand, these people were evil. But let me tell you how genius they were in being so evil. These people understood that anyone who wants to join the Crusaders has to basically march at least several months from Europe to the land of Israel. They realized that some of them might not come back home. In order to protect the people's possessions and money, they created the first ever in history checkbook. Did you know that it started by the Knight Templar? The checkbook that you have in your pocket started right then. What happened is, anyone who wanted to come to the Holy Land had to come to their office in Europe, give all their possessions, and receive a note. That note was in their pocket as they traveled to the Holy Land. And when they reach the Holy Land, they bring that note and get money in return. Now, 90% never made it. So you understand, 90% died along the way. 90%, or the possessions of the 90%, is now in the hands of the Knight Templars. And that tells you that their success was amazing. And by the year 1128, they were taken under a special protection of the Pope, and they became untouchable. You couldn't touch them. Ladies and gentlemen, they became the most richest organization on planet Earth of those days. They lasted only 200 years, but they were so evil. And by the way, the evil started being in the banking system since then. You'll see in a few seconds why. And these people started then, and then they moved on, and in their initiation, they had people spit on the cross of Jesus. They do many more things that I don't want to talk about right now, like sodomy, that was a rite in their practice. And they had to acknowledge other deity which had some face of a goat. In fact, you can see what it looked like. They called him Baphomet. And that's the new deity that people who call themselves Knights of Templars, people who call themselves the defenders of the Christians, this is what they worship and demanded anyone who becomes a member of them to worship. It's interesting because the deity of God, or gods that looks like goats, can already go to Leviticus chapter 17 in verse 7. You can see that God talked to the people of Israel about it, and he didn't like them to do that. I want you to understand that God really warned them against this, because this is intolerable. God will not take it. But I want you to know that not only that they worshipped the goat gods, deities, but they also were having prostitution and sexual immorality attached to it. That Baphomet continued as the evil continued in Europe. The evil continued from that time of the Knight Templars, which were exposed by the King of France, and they were executed, but they continued. They continued all the way until we get to Europe of the 18th century, the Europe of the Enlightenment era, the Europe of something that has started then and became a very dangerous occult, a very dangerous secret society. And we're talking about a combination of what I call a disappointed Jew and a Jesuit who was very frustrated.